Hello there, it's the rest day in the World Championships, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to turn my attention elsewhere. At the moment, the US Championships is taking place. 12-player all play all, and it's turning into a great contest between the two top seeds, Hikaru Nakamura and Gata Kamsky. So I'd like to look at a few of their games. First of all, a quick puzzle. How did Kamsky here with the white pieces make the big breakthrough? I'll give you the solution at the end, but have a go. Pause the clip if you like and try to solve it. Okay, let's look at another of Kamsky's games now. And yesterday he scored a superb victory against Yasusarawan, blowing him off the board with apparently some home preparation. In this position, it's very sharp indeed. Kamsky has an open G file, active knight, already quite dangerous, but perhaps black can still defend by putting a rook in the middle. Instead, Sarawan played, well, seemingly a very natural move, recapturing the pawn on c5. And here Kamsky played a brilliant sacrifice. Bishop takes pawn. Okay, Sarawan captured. And now to understand Kamsky's next move, we have to see what would happen if white simply played queen d2. The key is to get the queen in. So queen takes pawn is the threat. But here, black can just play queen takes knight. And after check, the knight simply defends and the queen defends g7, so there's no mate there. So Kamsky played rook d7. It's a beautiful combination actually. Okay, well, first things first, we have to see what happens if the knight takes the rook. Well, now queen d2 is a winning move. So the threat is queen h6, checkmate. And if king h7, then simply knight g4, and there's no defense to queen h6 mate. So the whole point is to drag the knight away, and then that leaves black's king too exposed. Okay, let's go back to rook d7. What are the alternatives? Well, black could try, let's say, queen b6, but then comes a very simple move, queen f3. Just attacking that knight, and there's no decent defense. If knight takes rook, queen g4 is a winning move. Threat, mate, and if rook g8, then just knight takes pawn and queen e4 is mate. What else we got? Queen b8, also not so good. Well, the queen is just too far from the action actually. You could just take on f7 here, but rook g6 is kind of a flashy move, followed by rook h6. Of course, if pawn takes rook, then it's checkmate. Basically, black's queen is too far from the action on the king side. Okay, let's go back and take a look at what happened in the game. Sarawan gave up his queen. Kamsky took. Now, normally a rook and two minor pieces would be enough, or possibly even better for black. But there's a winning move, queen d2, hitting h6 and hitting the knight. So Kamsky won another piece and managed to chalk up the game a few moves later. So a beautiful combination from Kamsky. While this was going on, Nakamura was, let me find the game, was toiling away in a very long game. This game went to 121 moves. Around about the 104 move mark, it looked like Nakamura was making big progress. Let's take a look at what happened. Here, white threatened simply to play bishop g2 and to conquer the pawn on d5. And once that one goes, then black's king could be in huge trouble, apart from the fact that white is a simple pawn up. But black found a beautiful defense, and there's a very strange coincidence actually, because it's something I looked at a few days ago on one of these clips. First h5. Okay, Nakamura took this, and then knight h6. So the The point was actually to attack this pawn. Bishop g2 still looks very good for white, but then came d4. Okay, so the point is to attack here. Black can take there, and then the knight comes through to take on d4 if white takes. But bishop e4 still looks very strong indeed. But here was black's idea. Queen c3. Okay, black is now 2 pawns down. You can't take on b3 because suddenly it'll be checkmate. So black is 2 pawns down, but now watch. The drawing technique is exactly the same as I examined in a previous clip. This drawing technique that Tigran and Petrosian used against Walter Brown. Let's have a look. The knight swings round and sits on this fantastic square d6. So the knight controls b5. This pawn here controls c5 and a5, and this creates a barrier. This square is also controlled by the knight. So because there's this barrier created, the white king cannot break through, and in spite of being 2 pawns up, there is absolutely nothing that Nakamura can do here, and the game was drawn a few moves later. But it's just a curious coincidence that I was looking at exactly this technique just a few days ago. It's surprisingly common and worth remembering. It's just basically a fortress. Okay, to finish off, let me just show you the puzzle I set you earlier. Kamsky's game. Let's get to the critical position. Here we go. So Kamsky's been toiling for some time trying to make a breakthrough, and finally he manages it. There's probably more than one way to win here, but Kamsky, well, let me try and explain this one. Of course, the rook is lined up against the king. Looks good. You would like to play f5 here, and it looks like there should be some devastating discovered attack here. But if knight g3 check, the bishop just drops back and black is safe. Or you can take here, but the king just moves aside and no big drama for black. So what did Kamsky do? He played bishop e1. Very good move. If white takes here, then effectively he's 2 pawns up. That's the end of the game. So black must protect the pawn. That's stage 1. Now he played f5. Now you can see the difference. If bishop takes pawn, knight g3 is winning now, because if the bishop comes back, it's en prise, remember. If the bishop drops back, now knight f5 forks king and rook. Nice tactics. It's very neat. Okay, so the bishop dropped back. And still, this isn't so devastating. The king can move away and black survives. But bishop d2 is very clever. The rook is attacked, and curiously the rook just does not have a safe square. If it goes to h7 or h5, then there'll be a discovered check winning the rook. So the rook went back to h8, and now knight takes f6 is a winning move, because if king takes knight, then this skewer wins the rook in the corner. So Jacobian played king d8, but now bishop g5 is simply a winning move. Black has to lose material. Obviously knight takes and then bishop takes, and that gets king and rook. And if, well, let me see, what else have we got? Knight back here. Well, this loses to check. King up, rook e7, or let me see, king c8, and then knight d6 forks king and bishop. Lots of beautiful tactics there. Very nice win from Kamsky. So all to play for on the US Championship. 3 rounds to go, and it's looking very exciting indeed.